we're about to go into a dark winter. A dark winter.
Unless we all recommit to the common sense measures that got us past the first horrendous months of this pandemic, we are in for a long, dark winter.
Britain is braced for a dark winter as new measures are...
We may very well be entering the darkest winter of our lifetimes.
I said in March it was going to be a long, dark winter. We're still in that long, dark winter.
People enjoyed the bright, sunny skies, just weeks ahead of what one doctor says most epidemiologists are predicting will be
what we have been calling a dark winter.
We are headed for a very dark winter.
Without better planning, 2020 could be the darkest winter in modern history.
We're still facing a very dark winter.
Good morning, Doug. The head of the CDC is warning that a dark winter is looming.
And we've heard the term dark winter in relation to mental health. What exactly does that mean?
Hello, you're listening to Hugo Talks. So, dark winter is a phrase that is being bandied about a lot, especially in the USA. Yep, they like that phrase dark winter a lot. Joe Biden a few days back repeated the dark winter slogan again by saying, or somebody around him saying, it's not just going to be a dark winter, it was going to be a very, very, very dark winter. And it's not just the USA, it's being used elsewhere in Europe and in the UK. So why is this phrase being used so much? It kind of reminds me of the Build Back Better phrase, which is being used by all of the countries everywhere.
To build back better.
An economy by building back better.
We have to build back better.
To build back better.
To build back better.
Scottish Recovery Network. Build back better.
We need to build back better.
We will build back better.
We can build back better.
And build back better.
So dark winter, it must have been a phrase that was deliberately chosen to use and to be said collectively by so many different people and organisations. It's not a coincidence. You can even see it was used 7 months back in the clips at the start. It's definitely been chosen for a reason. Is it a code word, or is it just a phrase simply telling everyone that the winter's going to be hard? Well, interestingly enough, if you type in dark winter into Google, you get this thing called Operation Dark Winter that comes up. This is the wiki page for Operation Dark Winter. Now, I know you can't take Wikipedia too seriously, but this is what it says. Operation Dark Winter was the code name for a senior level bioterrorist attack simulation conducted on June 22nd and the 23rd, 2001. It was designed to carry out a mock version of a covert and widespread smallpox attack on the United States. So that's like unusual, isn't it? That dark winter phrase is being used so much, and it just so happened to be the same name used as a real-world exercise that tested the emergency response to a pandemic attack on the United States. Now, this simulation outlines several key findings, and you can check out the wiki page if you want to see all of those. But to keep this video concise, I'm going to highlight this one. Dealing with the media will be a major, immediate challenge for all levels of government. Dark Winter revealed that information management and communication will be a critical element in crisis consequence management. It goes on to say, to gain that cooperation, the President and other leaders in Dark Winter recognized the importance of persuading their constituents that there was fairness in the distribution of vaccine and other scarce resources. So information and management is obviously crucial. We've already seen in the UK and in the USA, people like Bill Gates, for instance, complain about people having an opinion on the internet. And the UK, as it says here, on high alert for anti-vaccine disinformation from hostile states. Army Information Warfare Unit drafted in to help Whitehall officials as jib-jab is rolled out. So yeah, you heard right. An Army Information Warfare Unit drafted in makes it sound like there is a war going on. As it says in the book, The History of the Culture of War, it says the most significant development in the culture of war over the course of history has been the increasing importance of the control of information. Which leads me onto the recent cyber attacks in the USA. This week, loads of stuff in the media about this. As it says here today in The Guardian, what we know and still don't about the worst ever US government cyber attack. The USA blame it on Russia. I think Trump was blaming it on China. Who knows? But what's interesting is that they are talking about it a lot. You know, they're not keeping it a secret, which they could well have done. So here's another one from the BBC. US cyber attack. The US Energy Department confirms it was hit by sunburst hack. Energy Department. And all of this just reminds me of that Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum and the Great Reset. Klaus Schwab, the leader of the World Economic Forum, he took part in Event 201 with Bill and Melinda Gates back in October 2019. What was Event 201, you ask? Event 201, it says here, was a 3.5-hour pandemic tabletop exercise that simulated a series of dramatic scenario-based facilitated discussions. Basically, what that means is it was a simulation where they discussed what would you do if a pandemic started out of nowhere.
And it's going to take knowledge that only the private sector has. The UN can play an important
communication with all healthcare facilities where these patients are being treated so that there isn't mass panic.
We're at a moment where the social media platforms have to step forward and recognize the moment to assert that they're a technology platform and not a broadcaster is over. They, in fact, have to be a participant in broadcasting accurate information and partnering with the scientific and health communities to counterweight, if not flood the zone, of accurate information, because to put the genie back in the bottle of the...
And it was a good thing that they did this, because lo and behold, 2 months later, a pandemic did start out of nowhere. The World Economic Forum's Klaus Schwab is a great misfortune teller, and here he is from earlier this year talking about cyber attacks.
We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack. To use the COVID-19 crisis as a timely opportunity to reflect on the lessons the cybersecurity community can draw and improve our preparedness for a potential cyber pandemic.
So you hear the end bit, cyber pandemic. It does seem like freedom in the real world is getting limited day by day, week by week, and many of us will end up turning to the internet to work, to communicate, like in the next week with people over Christmas. And this guy is talking about a cyber pandemic and how much worse that would be compared to the problems we have now. He's a right barrel of laughs, isn't he? So what would happen if a cyber pandemic suddenly struck? Well, it would probably limit your use of the internet, would probably limit your ability to access independent websites. Like, it could be like now you can't get into an independent high street store, but you can get into a large multinational corporation store. So the same could happen online. You won't be able to access independent alternative opinions, as those websites would be deemed unsafe. There may be a cyber virus on those sites, and you can only access the mainstream media sites where we know that is safe. That could happen. So that's just me trying to join up the dots, trying to make sense of the madness. Let us know your thoughts on Dark Winter, the simulation from 2001, the cyber attacks that have started on the USA, and where you think all of this is heading. As always, thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.